Before we get into today's chat, quick one. If you're not 100% sure how your HR is really holding up, take our free HR health check. It's short, jargon-free, and gives you a clear score on what's working and what needs a bit of love. And if you do it before 1st April 2026, you'll get a bonus 7-pillar strategy on a page, tailored to help you manage HR brilliantly for the year ahead. Just head to kateunderwoodhr.co.uk/HR-health-check the link in the show notes. Right. Hands up if you've ever heard the word inclusion and immediately pictured a forced workshop, awkward icebreakers, and someone saying, "Let's all share one thing we love about ourselves." No, thank you. Most small business owners I speak to want to do the right thing. You want people to feel safe, respected, and like they belong. You just don't want the corporate theatre that sometimes comes with it. And honestly, fair. Because inclusion doesn't need a 12-page strategy. It needs a few everyday behaviours that stop people feeling like outsiders. This is Buzzing About HR. And today we're talking inclusion without the corporate theatre, what SMEs can actually do. Hello and welcome back. It's Kate. Hazel is here too. She's my chief vibe checker. She doesn't care about policy. She cares about energy. If someone's being a bit off, she clocks it immediately and stares at them until they improve, which, to be honest, is a management style I've considered adopting. Right. National Inclusion Week runs 15 to 21 September, so it's the perfect time to talk about inclusion in a way that actually works for small businesses. Because here's what I see all the time. Owners want to do the right thing, but they don't want fluff. Managers feel nervous about getting it wrong, so they say nothing. And teams carry on as normal until someone quietly leaves. So today I'm going to give you practical things you can actually do. Not posters, not slogans. Things you can implement this week. The Hive brief. Let's make this simple. Inclusion is not a project. Inclusion is the day-to-day feeling of, I'm safe here, I'm respected, I can speak up without being humiliated. I'm not treated like the odd one out. I don't have to shrink myself to fit in. That's it. And in a small business, inclusion isn't usually broken by one big dramatic incident. It's broken by tiny moments. The in-jokes, the banter that always lands on the same person, the eye roll when someone asks a question, the meeting where one person dominates and someone else never speaks, the, "Oh, don't be so sensitive" when someone looks uncomfortable. None of it may be intended to harm, but impact beats intention every single time. The sting. Now let's do the spicy what if. What if your banter is slowly pushing out good people and you're calling it culture? Because I see this constantly. A team is close. They joke around. They've got in-jokes. They're brutally honest. They take the mick. And then you hire someone new who's brilliant, but different. Different background, different age, different personality, different communication style, different life experience. And slowly they stop joining in. They go quieter. They stop sharing ideas. They stop pushing back. They stop trying. Then they leave. And everyone shrugs and says, they just didn't fit. But the truth is often they didn't feel included. So what do we do about it without turning your workplace into a corporate role-play exercise? Here's the practical plan. Step 1. Decide what respect actually looks like in your business. This is where most SMEs fall down. They've got lovely value, but they're vague. Be respectful. Be kind. Be professional. Lovely. Meaningless. Instead, give your team a few clear behaviour rules. Things people can actually follow. For example, we don't make jokes about someone's identity, accent, body, religion, gender, sexuality, disability, or family situation. We don't banter someone into silence. We don't do sarcasm as feedback. We challenge behaviour, not personality. If someone looks uncomfortable, we stop. That's not corporate. That's just being decent. And once you've set those expectations, you can manage against them. Step 2, fix meetings, because meetings are where inclusion lives or dies. If you want one fast win for inclusion, it's meetings. In small businesses, meetings often turn into the same two people talking, everyone else nodding, decisions made afterwards in a side chat, and someone feeling like they don't belong because they never get heard. So here are a couple of tiny tweaks that change everything. If one person always speaks first, say, let's hear from someone who hasn't spoken yet. If someone goes quiet, say, I'm going to come to you last because I know you'll have thoughts. If someone's being interrupted, say, hang on, let them finish. And if you've got remote people, don't forget them. Nothing screams outsider like hearing laughter in a room and realising nobody has included you. Step 3. Deal with banter without killing the vibe. This is the bit owners panic about. They think inclusion means nobody can laugh anymore. No. It means nobody gets used as the punchline. Here's the banter test. If the joke always lands on the same person, it's not banter, it's a habit. If someone looks uncomfortable, it's not banter, it's a warning sign. If someone laughs but then goes quiet for the rest of the day, it's not banter, it's a mask. So you need managers who can reset it in the moment without making it a lecture. Here are 3 short scripts. Pick one. Not that. Let's move on. Let's keep it professional. That's not landing. Drop it. Short. Calm. No drama. And yes, it might feel awkward the first time, but it's far less awkward than losing a brilliant employee because the atmosphere felt off. Step 4. Make fairness visible, because inclusion and fairness are best mates. In SMEs, people don't usually leave because you didn't do a big inclusion strategy. They leave because day-to-day decisions feel unfair. Who gets flexibility? Who gets the good shifts? Who gets away with things? Who gets pulled up? Who gets opportunities? So here's your fairness check. If 2 people in the same role ask for the same thing, do they get the same answer? And can you explain why? If the answer is no, and you can't explain it calmly, that's where resentment starts. You don't need to say yes to everyone. You just need your decisions to make sense. Step 5. When someone says, I feel uncomfortable, don't dismiss it. This is where managers mess up. Someone raises something and the manager says, oh, don't be so sensitive. That's just how they are. We all have to toughen up. It was only a joke. Nope, don't do that. You don't have to agree with the complaint to take it seriously. A better manager response is, thanks for telling me. Talk me through what happened and how it landed. I want to understand it properly and make sure we handle it. Then ask, what happened? When? Who was there? What impact has it had? What would a good outcome look like? And then you actually do something with it. Early. Because inclusion isn't built by pretending everything's fine. It's built by addressing things while they're still fixable. Step 6. Look for the outsider moments. This is the bit that surprises people. Inclusion is often death by 1,000 tiny cuts. In-jokes that exclude. Social plans made loudly in front of someone who isn't invited. Assumptions about drinking, weekends, family, religion. Mocking someone's food, name, accent, clothes. The new starter never being properly introduced. None of these might be meant badly, but they make people feel like they don't belong. So ask yourself, where do new starters struggle to settle? Who tends to go quiet? Who gets left out of informal chats? What jokes keep coming up? That's your work. Legal angel. Quick straight talking bit. Inclusion isn't just a nice thing. It reduces risk. Because when people feel excluded, they raise grievances. When banter crosses the line, it becomes harassment. When managers treat people inconsistently, it becomes discrimination risk. The most protective thing you can do is make respect and fairness normal and deal with issues early. And no, you don't need corporate theatre to do that. Small business actions. Here's what you can actually do this week. 1. Write 5 lines that describe how we behave here and share them with the team. 2. Teach managers 3 banter reset scripts. 3. Fix 1 meeting habit. Get quieter voices heard. 4. Do 1 fairness check. Holiday approvals, flexible working, shifts or pay decisions. 5. Ask 1 question in one-on-ones. Is there anything here that makes you feel like an outsider? This week's challenge. Pick 1 small action and do it today. Send the 5-line behaviour standard. Or teach managers the scripts. Or do a 10-minute meeting reset. Small changes, big retention impact. You don't need a 12-page inclusion strategy. You need everyday behaviours that don't make people feel like outsiders. Because the most expensive inclusion failure isn't a complaint. It's the brilliant person who leaves quietly and never tells you why. If you want help getting this right in a way that fits your business, no fluff, no theatre, just practical standards and manager scripts, book a call and we'll get you sorted. Kettle on. Standards up. See you next time. That's it for today. But if you fancy a bit of friendly HR advice in your inbox with 0 waffle, come and join our newsletter. We send out bite-sized tips, plain English updates, and handy things you'll actually use. No spam, no fluff. You can sign up at kateunderwoodhr.co.uk/newsletter-sign up or just hit the link in the show